A special festival gets underway this weekend in the North East, giving people the chance to go behind the scenes with a number of food and drink producers.
Yeah, one of the businesses taking part in this is the Tullynessle Deer Farm near Afford, and it's offering guided tours to visitors. Janet and Willie Keith say it's a challenging time for the farmed deer industry in Scotland. You'll find out about this in a second. And that's why they want more people to at least consider giving venison a try.
Come on then, come on. Come on.
So this is our breeding herd. This is the hinds with this year's calves born between May and the end of June. We haven't actually counted them, done a head count. We think there's about 42. We had an unexpected late calf just born last week, which you might be able to spot. It'll be obviously the tiniest one in the field. And that was born from one that we took in that we didn't realise was pregnant, so a bit of a surprise for us. And also in this field are our two stags. This is just the start of the rut now, which comes in line with the lack of daylight. They start as the nights draw in, and the females are in season for about an hour every 18 days. So the stag needs...
just an hour, so it's a short window.
So the stag has to keep busy finding out when the hour is out of the whole herd. They run around, lose a lot of condition during the rut, and roar a lot.
It's amazing as a hill walker, isn't it, if you're out on the hills and you hear that deep-throated roar.
It's such a guttural sound, isn't it? It just vibrates. I mean, all the neighbours when we first came here commented how... And it goes on 24 hours a day as it starts once we get into October proper. And it's day and night, and you can hear it in your house with the windows shut quite clearly.
And Willie, these are red deer.
They're native to Scotland, so they're all pretty... able to cope with the winters or the rough weather we can throw at them, and they're self-contained. They don't need a lot of looking after. Their metabolism slows down in the winter, so they don't eat so much as the rest of the farm animals, so they're good. They're good. They're nice to have, they're nice to look at, and they're it's a pleasure to have around the place.
The stag's just gone past us just now. You can tell he's a much bigger, stockier animal, can't you? Why did you decide to get deer?
Well, we bought the place in 2013 and we had a bit of a feasibility study done between sheep and deer. We were kind of encouraged by the Scottish Government in a way to get into deer farming. They were wanting to cut the ties with New Zealand, where there's a massive import. It's a really big business. So we felt, since we were starting afresh, why not go something totally different? We were quite excited by the idea. The fact of getting a grant, a partial grant, to help with the fencing was also helpful. And the fact that the fencing was also pretty dilapidated over the whole farm, it was just a good chance. So we went to half a dozen different farms and a few meetings and decided, yeah, this is for us. Because although they, as Willie says, they're beautiful to look at, it's also about 2 days a year work. And anybody that has sheep knows we did have 30 sheep before that for about 4 years, and every week we did something with the sheep, trimming feet and fleeces and different things. So this is now 6 years we've had the deer on farm, and touch wood, we've yet to call a vet out. We've never had a sick one, we've never had to use antibiotics, and we only wormed for the first 2 years, and we just wormed the calves at weaning. But this last few years we haven't even bothered with that because our vet's done tests and said that their burden is low. They have got worms, but they just managed to deal with it because they've never been intensively farmed. So, you know, for us, it was a win-win on every aspect of it.
So they're nice, low-maintenance animals. What kind of demand is there for their meat?
When we first started it, there is a demand locally, but our biggest problem we're having is there's no abattoir in Scotland it can handle farm deer. So that's causing quite a problem for the deer farmers, because up until now all our live animals have gone down to Leeds to Dovecote, and we had a load ready to go in September this year, and then they've put it back till January, so we're now going to keep this lot to January.
And why has there been this delay?
They have got their stocks up, and there's a lot of wild deer, I think, coming in as well, so it's sort of the market's a wee bit flooded. And if we had a Scottish abattoir or somewhere where we could get them and get the finished product out, I think they'll mind up here. We've got also another business with our garage business, and the amount of customers that have plenty to be able to sell us some venison, but we can't at the moment because we regulations, so we're looking at ways just now, we environmental folk, at see how we can get into that side of supplying straight off the farm to venison like so.
Which is why we've decided to take part in the Provenance Festival. We thought, put your money where your mouth is, and we've decided to open up the farm and invite anybody that's interested to come and have a look, meet the deer and sample some venison, because I think people that have tried wild might be put off thinking it's strong, it's tough, you know, but it's equivalent to fillet steak. Every cut of a young animal, it's really soft and really mild.
You've got a treat for me round this
Yes,
corner,
we do.
because you've got quite an unusual deer.
We do. We have a white red deer, which is not an albino, as some people think, or a goat, as other people might think, because it's very white in the field. But it is a breed, and they can interbreed, and they do. And this is one that we acquired locally from a farm that was closing down. They've always been around, very mythical creatures from the past. There's lots of stories about them. The white hart inns there's lots of them around England. And that comes from the white stag, which was a bit of a mythical creature in its day, obviously, because they were so rare.
Oh, and there she is, and I tell you, she stands out.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why there's maybe not so many of them. You can imagine in a wild environment, you know, they're going to struggle. They're really, for any predators, they are going to really stand out. You'll notice that they're a bit smaller, maybe 20% smaller than the reds, and very jumpy. So when we're handling them, if we were walking along this race with it, the rest of them would run along and the white one will bounce. So it's a bit intimidating when they're coming towards you because it is quite jumpy.
As you can see, the road is down there, and loads of people go up and walk in the wood, and every day there's 50% of that cars will come down there and they'll stop and they're looking across at the deer, so it is something that everybody looks at.
Willie and Janet Keith there, and they're taking part in the Provenance Festival, which runs for the next 9 days, so I think it's up until next weekend, and you can find more information about that and all the other events that are taking place on our website. Now, when I was at the farm, it was on Thursday, we saw a deer by itself over in another field, and we were wondering why it was itself, and Willie said, oh, I think there's something beside it. Is it a cat? We thought, don't know. So off he went for a look, and it was a baby. It had just been born. How
And
lovely.
what was it?
Cute and adorable.
Yeah, just checking. Just checking. That's all, yeah. That white deer, was it one of John Fletcher's?
Well, they think it was originally. They'd bought
okay.
it from someone else, but they think it came from John originally.
Because they had an entire herd of white deer.
Yeah.
And what have they used to use them for weddings and things like that. How do you use deer for a wedding? I never figured that
No,
one
I
out.
don't know. But I love their antlers, because even the antlers are white.
Yeah.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Wonderful thing.
Yeah.